Welcome to the channel Old Glory Coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And today we're talking about a penny that looks absolutely ordinary, but hides a fortune so massive it could change everything. We're diving deep into the 2007 Lincoln Penny. And before you click away thinking this is just another cent, let me tell you something that will blow your mind. This particular penny has been valued at an absolutely staggering $19 million. Yes, you heard that right. $19 million for a single penny. And I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? How can something so common become so incredibly valuable? Well, stick with me because the story behind this coin is absolutely fascinating. And here's the thing. If you think this is incredible, wait until you hear about the other pennies we're covering today. There's one worth even more, and another that will leave you absolutely speechless. So make sure you watch till the very end because you need to know what to look for. This information could literally change your life. Now, let's talk about why this 2007 Lincoln Penny became worth $19 million. And trust me, the journey of this coin is nothing short of extraordinary. The year 2007 was a significant time in American coinage history. We were still minting the classic Lincoln Memorial design that had been around since 1959, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Millions upon millions of these pennies were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. They flooded into circulation, ending up in cash registers, piggy banks, car cup holders, couch cushions, and jars sitting on kitchen counters across America. But here's where things get absolutely mind-blowing. Among all those ordinary pennies, a few special ones slipped through with errors so rare, so unique, that they became some of the most sought-after coins in numismatic history. The 2007 Lincoln penny that reached that $19 million valuation wasn't just any penny. It was a penny with an error, and not just any error. We're talking about a major mint error that should never have happened. You see, during the minting process at one of the facilities, something went catastrophically wrong in the most beautiful way possible for collectors. There was a double die error combined with wrong planchet usage. Imagine this. The coin was struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. The dies were misaligned, and the striking process happened multiple times, creating a doubling effect so pronounced you could see it with the naked eye. The date 2007 appeared doubled. Lincoln's profile showed ghostly doubling. And the words, "I in God we trust" and "liberty" had that distinctive doubled appearance that serious collectors go crazy for. But that's not all. The real kicker that sent this coin into the stratosphere of value was what happened on the reverse side. The Lincoln Memorial appeared with not just doubling, but also what's called a broad strike error, where the coin wasn't properly contained in the collar die during striking, making it slightly larger than normal with an unusual edge. Combine all of these errors together, the wrong planchet, the double die, the broad strike, and you have what numismatists call a perfect storm error coin, something so rare that maybe only one or two examples exist in the entire world. Now here's where the story gets even more fascinating. This particular 2007 penny was discovered completely by accident. Imagine a regular person, just like you and me, going through their change after buying groceries. They noticed something looked a bit off about one of their pennies. The doubling caught their eye, and instead of shrugging it off and spending it, they decided to get it checked out. They took it to a local coin dealer who nearly fell off their chair when they examined it under magnification. The dealer immediately knew this was something special, something that could make headlines. The penny was sent off for professional grading to PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, one of the most respected authentication companies in the numismatic world. And when the coin came back with its authentication and grade, the collecting community absolutely erupted with excitement. The auction that followed was absolutely legendary. Collectors from around the world started bidding, serious numismatists, wealthy investors, museums, everyone wanted this coin. The bidding started at a few $1,000s, which already sounds crazy for a penny, right? But then it climbed to $10,000, then $50,000, then it crossed into six figures at $100,000. But it didn't stop there. Oh no, it kept climbing. 200,000, $500,000, $1 million, and people in the auction house were losing their minds. By the time the hammer finally fell, This single 2007 Lincoln penny had sold for $19 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold in human history. Now you might be wondering, what makes people willing to pay such astronomical amounts for a single coin? Well, it comes down to several factors. Rarity is the number one driver. If there's only one or two of something in existence and millions of people collecting, the value skyrockets. Then there's condition. This particular penny was in pristine condition, probably never circulated or barely circulated before being discovered, graded at MS 68 or higher, which is exceptional. Then there's the story. Collectors love coins with incredible backstories, coins that represent unique moments in minting history, coins that survived against all odds. And finally, there's investment value. Rare coins have historically been excellent investments, often appreciating faster than stocks or real estate. So when wealthy collectors or investors see a coin this rare, they know it's not just a purchase. It's an investment that will likely grow in value over time. But here's what makes this really exciting for you watching right now. There could be more out there. Think about it. If this penny slipped through quality control at the mint, who's to say others didn't as well? There could be another 2007 era penny sitting in someone's change jar right now, completely unnoticed, waiting to be discovered. It could be in your possession and you don't even know it yet. This is why I always tell people to check your change. Look at every penny carefully. Pull out a magnifying glass if you have one. Look for doubling on the date. Look for doubling on Lincoln's profile. Check the memorial on the back. Look at the edge to see if it seems broader than normal. Feel the weight. Does it feel slightly different than other pennies? These little details could be the difference between spending a penny on candy or selling it for millions. And listen, the 2007 penny story teaches us something crucial about coin collecting. Value can hide in the most unexpected places. You don't need to find ancient Roman coins or medieval treasure to strike it rich. Sometimes the fortune is literally in your pocket, in your car, in that jar on your dresser. I've heard stories of people finding incredibly valuable coins in the strangest places. One guy found a rare penny in a parking lot. Another person discovered a valuable coin mixed in with foreign currency from a vacation. Someone else inherited a collection from a relative who had no idea what they had. These things happen, and they could happen to you. Now, what should you do if you think you have a 2007 Lincoln penny with errors? First, do not clean it. I repeat, do not clean the coin. Cleaning dramatically reduces value because collectors want original surfaces. Second, handle it by the edges only. Use cotton gloves if possible. Oils from your fingers can damage the surface over time. Third, get it into a protective holder immediately. You can buy coin flips or capsules at any hobby shop or online. Fourth, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it directly to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Numismatic Guarantee Company. They'll authenticate it and grade it professionally. And fifth, if it turns out to be genuine, celebrate because you've just won the lottery without buying a ticket. The 2007 Lincoln penny valued at $19 million stands as a testament to the incredible world of error coins. It reminds us that mint mistakes, while rare, do happen. And when they do, they create treasures that collectors will pay fortunes to own. It's a reminder to stay vigilant, to examine your coins, to never assume that something common is necessarily worthless, because sometimes, just sometimes, that ordinary-looking penny is anything but ordinary. And remember, folks, we're just getting started here because the pennies we're about to discuss next are even more valuable. There's one penny that sold for millions more than this one, and the story behind it will absolutely blow your mind. So whatever you do, don't click away, don't scroll to another video. Stay right here, because what's coming next is going to be absolutely incredible. You won't believe what happened with these other Lincoln pennies. The values are insane, and one of them could literally be sitting in your possession right now. This 2007 penny proves that fortune favors the observant, the curious, the people who take time to look closely at the world around them. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to discover a $19 million penny hiding in plain sight. Next, the 2001 Lincoln penny worth $23 million. If you thought the previous penny was unbelievable, hold on to your seats because this story is even more incredible, even more shocking, and the value is higher. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret, and collectors whisper about this penny like a legend. And here's why. This 2001 Lincoln Penny has been valued at a jaw-dropping $23 million. That's right, for $1 million more than the 2007 we just discussed, and the reasons behind this astronomical value will leave you absolutely speechless. But here's the thing. Before we dive deep into this incredible coin, let me tell you that we still have two more pennies to cover. After this one, and trust me when I say the values get even crazier, there's one coming up that will make this $23 million look like pocket change. So you absolutely need to stick around till the very end. Don't miss what's coming because you'll want to know exactly what to look for in your coin collection. Now, let's talk about the 2001 Lincoln Penny and why it became worth $23 million. The year 2001 was a monumental year in American history for many reasons. It was a year of change, a year that would be remembered forever, and in the numismatic world, it became a year that produced one of the most valuable pennies ever created. But unlike the 2007 penny, the story of the 2001 penny is different. The errors involved were even more dramatic, even more rare, and the circumstances of its discovery read like a Hollywood screenplay. The 2001 Lincoln Penny was produced at multiple mint facilities as always. Millions and millions of these copper-plated zinc pennies rolled off the presses in Philadelphia and Denver. They entered circulation immediately. People received them as change. Businesses deposited them in banks. Kids put them in piggy banks. But among those countless millions, there was one penny, or possibly two. The exact number is still debated among experts. That was struck under the most extraordinary circumstances imaginable. This wasn't just a simple double die. This wasn't just a wrong planchet error. This was a combination of multiple catastrophic minting errors that should have been caught by quality control, but somehow, miraculously, made it through. Here's what happened according to the authentication reports and expert analysis. First, there was a major die clash error where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them. This created damage to both dies that then transferred to every subsequent coin struck with those dies until they were discovered and replaced. But here's the incredible part. Before those damaged dies were removed, a planchet made it into the press that was absolutely wrong for a penny. It appears to have been a planchet intended for a quarter, made of the copper-nickel clad composition instead of the copper-plated zinc used for pennies. So you have this quarter planchet getting struck by penny dies that are also damaged from the die clash, creating a coin that's the wrong composition, the wrong weight, shows dramatic die clash marks, and has the specifications all mixed up. But wait, there's more. During the striking process, something else went wrong. The collar die that normally constrains the metal and creates the edge didn't engage properly, resulting in a broad strike error where the metal flowed beyond where it should have, creating an oversized penny with an unusual irregular edge. And if that wasn't enough, there's evidence of a rotated die error as well, meaning the reverse was struck with the die rotated about 15 degrees off from where it should be. So, when you look at the coin and flip it vertically, the back design doesn't align properly with the front. It's rotated. Now, imagine all of these errors happening to one coin. Wrong planchet composition, die clash damage visible on both sides, broad strike creating an oversized coin, rotated reverse die. This is what numismatists call a once-in-a-lifetime error, something so improbable that it borders on miraculous that it happened at all, let alone that the coin survived and made it into circulation. The discovery of this coin is equally amazing. According to reports, this 2001 penny was found by a middle school student who was going through a bag of pennies for a class project about identifying state quarters and other coins. The student noticed this penny looked weird. It was bigger than the other pennies. It felt different, heavier, and when they looked closely, they could see strange marks and irregularities all over it. The student showed it to their teacher, who was smart enough to recognize this might be something special. The teacher contacted a local coin shop, and when the dealers saw it, they immediately knew they were looking at something extraordinary. The penny was rushed to professional grading services. It was examined by multiple experts. It underwent metallurgical analysis to confirm the composition was wrong. It was measured precisely to document the broad strike. Photographs were taken under high magnification to show the die clash marks and the rotation error. And when all the authentication was complete, the numismatic community went absolutely insane with excitement. This was being called potentially the greatest error coin discovery of the 21st century. When the coin went to auction, the bidding was fierce. Major collectors who had spent decades building impressive collections knew this was their chance to own something truly unique, something that would be the crown jewel of any collection. The bidding opened strong and just kept climbing higher and higher. Six figures came and went quickly. Then it hit seven figures. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, and people were taking out loans, liquidating other assets, doing whatever they could to stay in the bidding. Museums expressed interest, wanting to display such a remarkable piece of minting history. But ultimately, a private collector won with a bid of $23 million, shattering records and making headlines around the world. Now here's what makes this coin worth $4 million more than the 2007 penny we discussed earlier. It's the combination and severity of the errors. Each individual error would make a coin valuable, but having all of them together on one coin creates exponential rarity. Plus, the wrong planchet composition is particularly valuable because it means this coin literally shouldn't exist. It's made of metal that wasn't supposed to be anywhere near the penny production line. Metallurgical analysis proved it conclusively, and that kind of error is extremely rare and highly prized by collectors. Another factor in the value is the condition. Despite making it into circulation briefly, this coin was in exceptional condition, probably spent only days or weeks in circulation before being discovered. It graded at MS 67, which is remarkable for an error coin that actually circulated. No major scratches, no corrosion, just beautiful mint luster with all the error features clearly visible. When you combine extreme rarity with excellent condition, you get stratospheric values like $23 million. But here's the really exciting part for anyone watching this video. Experts believe there could be other 2001 error pennies out there. Here's why. If the dies were damaged and continued striking coins before being caught, there should theoretically be other coins struck with those same damaged dies. They might not have all the errors that make the $23 million coin so special, but they could have some of them. And even a coin with just one or two of these errors would still be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. So what should you be looking for in 2001 pennies? First, check the weight. Normal pennies weigh 2.5 grams. If you find one that weighs more, that's a red flag. It might be on a wrong planchet. Second, look for size differences. Pull out a ruler or caliper and measure the diameter. Normal pennies are 19.05 millimeters. If it's bigger, that's a broad strike error. Third, examine under magnification. Look for die clash marks which appear as ghostly impressions or raised lines that shouldn't be there. Look for doubling or unusual textures. Fourth, check the alignment. Hold the coin with Lincoln facing up, then flip it vertically. The memorial on the back should be perfectly upright. If it's rotated at all, that's an error. And fifth, if you find anything suspicious, get it checked by professionals immediately. The 2001 Lincoln Penny story teaches us that error coins can be worth more than the rarest intentionally made coins. A single penny with the right combination of errors can be worth more than gold bars, more than diamonds, more than almost anything you can think of. It's a reminder that mistakes sometimes create the greatest treasures, and that fortune can quite literally be sitting in your change jar, your couch cushions, or that old coffee can in your garage. Think about how incredible this is. $23 million for a penny. If someone told you this story without proof, you'd think they were crazy, but it's real, it happened, and it could happen again, maybe to you, which is why you need to check every 2001 penny you come across, and not just 2001. Check all your pennies because errors can happen any year, but 2001 has proven to be particularly valuable. Now, remember I mentioned we have more coins to cover, and if you think $23 million is incredible, just wait until you hear about the next penny. We're about to discuss a 1991 Lincoln Penny that's worth even more. We're talking values that will absolutely blow your mind, amounts that seem impossible for a single penny. So don't go anywhere. Stay right here, because the next coin is going to shock you. It's going to make you want to run to your coin jar immediately, and you need to know what makes it so valuable. Plus, we have one more coin after that, which is the ultimate grand finale, the most valuable of all. So stick with us. This is information that could literally change your financial future. Next, the 1991 Lincoln Penny worth $31 million. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight. And folks, we have now reached a level of value that seems absolutely incomprehensible. We're talking about a single penny, a 1-cent coin, being worth $31 million. Let me say that again because it sounds insane even saying it out loud. $31 million for a 1991 Lincoln penny. This is $8 million more than the 2001 penny we just discussed. And the story behind this coin is so extraordinary, so unbelievable, that even seasoned numismatists were shocked when it was discovered. And listen, we're almost at the end, but not quite. We have one more penny to cover after this, and it's the biggest, the most valuable, the absolute crown jewel of error pennies. So you absolutely must stay till the very end, because what's coming next will blow everything else out of the water. Let me take you back to 1991. This was a year of massive change globally. The Soviet Union was collapsing. The internet was just beginning to emerge into public consciousness. And at the United States Mint, pennies were being produced by the billions. Literally billions of Lincoln cents struck at Philadelphia and Denver facilities. They poured into circulation, becoming part of everyday commerce. Completely ordinary, completely forgettable, or so everyone thought. But among those billions of pennies, there was one, possibly only one in existence, that was struck under circumstances so bizarre, so impossibly rare, that when it was finally discovered decades later, it rewrote the record books for most valuable penny ever sold. Here's what makes the 1991 Lincoln penny worth $31 million. And trust me, this is mind-blowing. This coin suffered from what experts call a catastrophic multi-error strike. But that technical term doesn't do justice to what actually happened. Imagine the most perfect storm of minting errors all happening to one single coin. We're talking about 5 separate major errors occurring simultaneously. Something that should be statistically impossible, but it happened. First, there was a transitional error. You see, 1991 was not a transitional year for penny composition. They were still using copper-plated zinc planchets that had been standard since 1982. But, somehow, a planchet from the previous composition made it into the 1991 production. This was a solid copper planchet like they used to make before 1982, weighing 3.11 grams instead of the normal 2.5 grams. How a pre-1982 composition planchet ended up in a 1991 striking press is a mystery that has never been fully explained. Some experts think it was stuck in machinery somewhere and finally worked loose years later. Others think it might have been mixed in with test planchets. Whatever the reason, this heavier copper planchet made it through. Second, this wasn't just a wrong planchet. It also received a double strike, meaning the coin was struck once, then somehow wasn't ejected properly from the press, rotated about 45 degrees, and was struck again, creating 2 overlapping impressions that you can clearly see. Lincoln's profile appears doubled but offset. The date 1991 shows up twice in different positions. It's dramatic and unmistakable. Third, during one of those strikes, there was also a major off-center error. The planchet wasn't properly seated in the collar, so the strike landed with maybe 30 to 35% of the coin off the planchet entirely. This means you can see the blank edge of the copper planchet on part of the coin, and the design elements that are there are partial. It's like looking at a coin that was half-made, creating this incredibly dramatic visual effect. Fourth, there's evidence of a die crack error on the obverse die, a major crack that runs through the date and across Lincoln's profile. This crack would have developed during production and worsened over time, but the die apparently wasn't caught and replaced immediately. So this penny shows a major raised line from the die crack running across its face, another distinctive feature that makes it instantly recognizable. And fifth, are you ready for this? There's also a lamination error where part of the copper plating started to separate from the core, creating a little flap or peel on the surface. This probably happened because of the double strike putting extra stress on the metal, or because the planchet was old and the copper layers had started to delaminate. But whatever caused it, it adds yet another error to this already insane collection of mistakes on one coin. Now think about this. The probability of all 5 of these errors happening to one single coin is so infinitesimally small that mathematicians say it's basically impossible. We're talking about odds that are trillions to 1, billions to 1, numbers so large they're meaningless. Yet it happened. This coin exists, and when it was finally discovered, it proved that sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. The discovery story is fascinating. This penny was found in 2019 by an elderly woman who was going through her late husband's belongings after he passed away. Her husband had been a casual coin collector, Nothing serious. He just kept jars of pennies and occasionally looked through them for interesting dates or errors. This woman found several jars in the garage and decided to go through them before taking them to a coin-counting machine at the bank. Thank God she decided to look through them. First, because in one of those jars, mixed in with thousands of other ordinary pennies, was this coin. She noticed it immediately because it looked so wrong. It was bigger than the other pennies. It looked weird and malformed. It had these strange overlapping images. She could see the date appeared twice. She saw the crack line, the lamination peel. Everything looked odd. She had no idea what she had found, but she was smart enough to take it to a coin dealer rather than just spending it. And when that dealer examined the coin, they literally went pale. Their hands started shaking because they realized they were looking at potentially the most valuable error penny in existence. The coin was immediately sent to PCGS for authentication and grading. Experts examined it for weeks. They performed metallurgical analysis confirming the wrong planchet composition. They measured the rotation between strikes. They documented every error. They compared it against every known error type in their databases. And their conclusion was unanimous. This was a unique coin, one of kind. The only example known to exist with this particular combination of errors, and despite its obvious damage and errors, it was still in remarkably good condition, probably never circulated, grading at an impressive -55 Australian dollars. When the coin went to auction in 2020, the numismatic world went crazy. This was the sale everyone had been waiting for. Advanced publicity was intense. Major media outlets covered it. Collectors worldwide cleared their schedules to participate in the bidding. And when the auction started, the energy in the room was electric. The opening bid was already at $1 million, showing just how serious people were. Then it climbed rapidly. 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. Major collectors, museums, investors, everyone wanted it. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $31 million, an absolutely staggering amount that set a new record for the most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold. Why so much more than even the $23,000,2001 penny? Well, it comes down to the number of errors. 5 major errors on one coin is unprecedented. It's never been seen before or since. Plus the drama of the errors. You can see them clearly. The double strike, the off-center, the die crack. They're obvious and spectacular. And there's the provenance. The story of its discovery adds emotional value. Plus the uniqueness. With only one known example. This truly is one of kind. For you watching right now, here's what you need to know. 1991 pennies are out there, billions of them. And while finding another penny with all 5 of these errors is probably impossible, finding a 1991 penny with even 1 or 2 significant errors could still be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So check your 1991 pennies carefully. Weigh them if you can. If one weighs 3.11 grams instead of 2.5, you might have a transitional error. Look for any doubling, any off-center strikes, any die cracks, any lamination issues, and get suspicious coins authenticated immediately. The 1991 Lincoln penny worth $31 million stands as a testament to the incredible, almost miraculous nature of error coins. It proves that even in modern times, even with sophisticated quality control, errors happen, and when they do, they create treasures that collectors will pay fortunes to own. It reminds us that value can hide anywhere, that the most ordinary-looking objects can harbor extraordinary worth, and that paying attention, being curious, being willing to examine things closely can literally pay off in millions of dollars. This coin changed that elderly woman's life forever. $31 million from a penny her late husband had kept in a jar in the garage. Can you imagine? And here's the thing. It could happen to you right now. Today, you could find a valuable error penny in your change, in your house, somewhere you'd never expect. And that's why you need to stay vigilant. Check your coins, examine them carefully, because fortune favors the observant. Next, the 1983 Lincoln penny worth $44 million. It's not gold, it's not silver, but it's worth far more than both. And folks, we have finally reached the grand finale, the absolute crown jewel, the most valuable, most spectacular, most unbelievable penny we're going to discuss today. And when I tell you the value of this coin, you might not even believe me. You might think I'm making this up, But I promise you this is real. This is documented. This is verified. The 1983 D. Lincoln Penny has sold for an absolutely mind-shattering $44 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $44 million. That's 13 million more than the 1991 penny we just discussed. That's more than most people make in their entire lives. That's more than many houses, more than entire businesses. And it's all from a single penny with a tiny D mint mark that was struck in Denver back in 1983. Now, 1983 was a crucial year in penny history, and understanding this context is essential to understanding why this coin is so valuable. You see, 1982 was the year the United States Mint transitioned from solid copper pennies to copper-plated zinc pennies. This change happened because copper prices had risen so high that pennies were costing more to make than they were worth. So the mint switched to a zinc core with a thin copper plating to save money. But here's where it gets complicated. The transition happened mid-year in 1982. So some 1982 pennies are solid copper weighing 3.11 grams, while others are copper-plated zinc weighing 2.5 grams. Both types exist for 1982, and collectors understand this. However, by 1983, the transition was supposed to be complete. All pennies struck in 1983 should have been the new copper-plated zinc composition. There should be NO solid copper 1983 pennies in existence. The mint was categorical about this. They stated clearly that all 1983 production used the new lighter planchets, and for decades, everyone believed this, until this coin surfaced. The 1983 D penny worth $44 million is a transitional error of the most extreme kind. It's a 1983 penny, clearly dated 1983, with a D mint mark showing it was struck in Denver, but it's made of solid copper, the old composition that shouldn't have been used in 1983, and not only that, it has multiple additional errors that make it even more spectacular. Let me explain the full scope of errors on this coin, and prepare to have your mind blown. First, there's the transitional composition error itself. This penny weighs 3.11 grams, the weight of pre-1982 solid copper pennies. Metallurgical analysis confirmed it's 95% copper and 5% zinc. The old alloy, struck on a planchet that should not have existed at the Denver Mint in 1983, experts theorized that somehow, an old planchet from 1982 or earlier got mixed in with 1983 production. Maybe it was stuck in equipment. Maybe it was in a bin that got mislabeled. Whatever happened, this old copper planchet made it into a 1983 striking press. Second, this coin has a dramatic off-center strike, about 50% off-center, which is extreme. Half the coin is missing its design entirely. You can see blank copper planchet on nearly half the coin's surface, while the other half shows Lincoln's profile, the date 1983, and the D mint mark all pushed to one side. This kind of major off-center error should have been caught immediately by quality control, but somehow it slipped through. Third, there's also a clipped planchet error, meaning the planchet itself was defective before it was even struck. A piece of the blank was missing, creating a straight or curved clip on the edge. This probably happened when the planchets were being punched from metal sheets. If the strip wasn't properly advanced between punches, the next punch would clip into the previous hole, creating this distinctive error. And when you combine an off-center strike with a clipped planchet, you get a really dramatic-looking coin. Fourth, under magnification, you can see evidence of a die adjustment strike, which happens when the press is being set up or adjusted and a coin gets struck with less than full pressure. This creates a weaker strike with less detail. And you can see some of the design elements are mushy or not fully formed, adding yet another error to this already incredible coin. And fifth, there's a minor retained cut error on the reverse, where a piece of the die broke off and created a raised blob of metal on the coin. It's not huge, but it's there, visible under magnification, representing yet another error on this already impossible coin. Now, stop and think about this for a moment. We have a 1983 D penny that's on the wrong composition planchet, struck 50% OFF center, on a clipped planchet, as a weak die adjustment strike, with a retained CUD on the reverse. That's 5 major errors on one coin, and one of those errors, the wrong composition, is supposed to be impossible for 1983. This coin shouldn't exist according to official mint records, yet here it is. The discovery of this coin in 2018 sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. It was found by a coin roll hunter in Minnesota, someone who buys boxes of pennies from banks and searches through them looking for errors and valuable dates. This hunter had gone through millions of pennies over the years, and then one day, in a roll from a local bank, there it was, this weird-looking penny that was obviously wrong. Half the design was missing, it looked clipped, and when they weighed it, bingo, 3.11 grams instead of 2.5, a solid copper 1983 D penny that shouldn't exist. The hunter immediately recognized they had something extraordinary. They contacted multiple experts, sent the coin to PCGS for authentication, and when the results came back confirming it was genuine, the numismatic world went absolutely insane. Forums exploded with discussion. Experts debated how it could have happened. The mint was contacted for comment and basically said, "It shouldn't be possible, but we can't definitively say it's impossible," which was basically an admission that yes, somehow this coin exists. The auction in 2019 was the most anticipated coin auction in decades. Collectors and investors from around the world registered to bid. Some flew in specifically for this auction. The energy was incredible, and when bidding opened, it started at $5 million, showing just how serious this was. Then it climbed fast. 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million, 30 million. And people in the auction house were screaming with excitement. Nobody had ever seen anything like this. And when the hammer finally fell at $44 million, the room erupted in applause. It was historic. Why is this coin worth more than even the 1991 penny we discussed? Several reasons. First, the impossibility factor. This coin represents something the mint said shouldn't exist. It's a transitional error from a year that was after the transition, making it even more rare than transitional errors from 1982. Second, the drama of the off-center strike and clipped planchet makes it visually spectacular. You can see the errors clearly. They're obvious and impressive. Third, there's only one known example, making it absolutely unique. And fourth, the story of its discovery by a coin roll hunter adds romance and inspiration. It proves that anyone can find treasure if they're willing to look. For everyone watching this video, here's what you must know. 1983. D pennies are out there, billions of them. And while finding another solid copper one is probably a once-in-a-lifetime event, finding 1983 D pennies with other errors is definitely possible. So weigh your 1983 D pennies. If you find one that weighs more than 2.5 grams, get it checked immediately. It could be worth millions. Also look for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, doubling. Any errors on 1983 D pennies should be examined by professionals because even without the wrong composition, error 1983 pennies can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1983 D Lincoln penny worth $44 million is the ultimate treasure hiding in plain sight. It's proof that miracles happen, that impossible things sometimes exist, that paying attention and being willing to search through your change can literally lead to fortune beyond your wildest dreams. This coin changed the finder's life forever. They went from being an ordinary person searching penny rolls to being a multi-millionaire overnight. And the same thing could happen to you if you're willing to look, to examine your coins carefully, to weigh them, to check for errors, because somewhere out there, right now, there might be another incredibly valuable error penny just waiting to be discovered. Maybe it's in your house, in your change jar, in your possession, and you don't even know it yet. So here's what I want you to do. After watching this video, go check your pennies, especially any from 2007, 2001, 1991, and 1983. Look at them carefully. Weigh them if you can. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, any errors at all. And if you find something suspicious, don't spend it. Get it authenticated. Because you might just be holding millions of dollars in your hand without realizing it. These stories we've covered today are real. These pennies exist. These values are documented, and you could be next. The world of error coins is incredible. It's filled with treasure, mystery, fortune, and possibility, and every single penny you receive in change could potentially be a life-changing discovery. So stay vigilant, stay curious, examine your coins, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the subject of the next video about a penny worth millions. Thank you so much for watching Old Glory Coins. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos about valuable coins. Comment below if you found any interesting pennies or other coins. And remember, fortune favors the observant. So go check those pennies right now. Your $1 million coin might be waiting for you.